What's going on, you guys? It is Tuesday, and today we're going to get into a slight twist on a classic benchmark workout, Cindy. So let's take a look at the board. I'm calling this almost Cindy. Traditional Cindy is normally 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats, however many rounds you can do in 20 minutes. In our case, to replace the pull of the pull-up, we're doing bent over rows. Now, I programmed this with a barbell in mind, but you can totally use dumbbells. You can totally use kettlebells. You can use your trusty backpack. Work with what you got. The prescribed weight on the bent over rows is gonna be a little lighter. So 95 pounds for guys, 65 pounds for gals. Why program it lighter? Because we're looking at, again, tapering, getting back into moving bars, getting back into moving weight. The idea of Cindy is, you know, you're supposed to keep moving the whole 20 minutes. I don't want pull-ups, which we haven't been able to necessarily do a lot of, depending on our setups at home and what we haven't had access to. And some of us have been doing just strict pull-ups and not kipping and other things like that. There's got to be some skill reacquisition that we deal with as a community coming back, whether that's the load that we see on the barbell, the numbers on a heavy day, when we start to get into heavy days again in phase 2, things like that. So I want us to think about just keep moving. I don't want that bent over row to slow you down. Now, one thing I do want to touch on is when we talk about scaling, a lot of times we always look at scaling and it's scaling something down. Well, you can do the opposite. You can scale something up. If you look at that and go, man, 95-pound bent over rows, that's way too light. I'm going to churn through those like nothing every single time. It's totally okay to scale that up. Maybe that's 135 pounds on your bar. Maybe it's 155 pounds on your bar. Maybe it's, maybe you're going down and it's 55 pounds on your bar instead. Either way, scale to what you know is acceptable or appropriate for you as an athlete and be realistic with yourself. So for the general population of our community, I'm programming 95 pounds. If you want to go heavier, do that. If you want to go lighter, do that. That's okay. But either way, this workout is pretty self-explanatory. We've done plenty of push-ups. We've done plenty of air squats. I'll touch on the standards of those movements anyway for posterity's sake. And then we'll talk about the bent over row with a barbell. And again, dumbbells, kettlebells, anything can be done with that in place of the barbell for the implement on that workout. And with us also doing stuff outside, I wanted an opportunity to be able to do something that's a benchmark or close to it that didn't require us being in the gym and on the pull-up rig. Although you will see there might be some stuff involving toes to bar or pull-ups and stuff like that popping up in our programming in the very near days as we look at our county guidelines and figure out how we can maybe start to do some of those things before we hit phase 2 anyway. And if you're coming to classes in the gym, you'll see how that plays out while still maintaining social distance and still keeping constant airflow in the gym and things like that. So, 5 bent over rows, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats, 20 minutes. Cindy is a grind every time you do it. You feel like you're flying through your rounds, and the next thing you know, you get to 12 rounds, and you're okay, halfway there, and you're like, dang, all right, do I have what it takes to keep going? Well, we're going to find ourselves in those similar situations coming from quarantine and in these workouts where it's constantly moving and there's not rest. And unlike yesterday where it was very short work periods, this is going to be a lot more of a continual stress on your body. So let's talk about our standards and we'll get to it. So starting with the bent over rows, you can see I have a barbell here. I've got 95 pounds on my bar. When I set up for my bent over row, you can do this and you can alternate, just like if I was doing pull-ups on a pull-up rig. If I've got a supinated grip on that bar and doing my pull-ups and I'm kipping, cool, things can get tired. Maybe I switch up my grip. Maybe I switch grip it. Maybe I reverse grip to try to target different muscles primarily to try to just keep moving as things get tired and things start to blow up. You could do the same thing with your bent over row. So while traditional bent over row is that supinated grip where I'm putting my hands over the bar, if I start to get tired, I can switch grip it. I can reverse grip, I can do all kinds of stuff and still go through the same movement, and that is okay. As long as your arms are extended at the bottom and you're making contact where your solar plexus are. So right underneath your sternum is gonna be where we're looking to have that bar make contact. So when I'm doing a bent over row, I'm gonna grab onto the bar. I'm gonna try to keep my chest nice and tall, my back nice and flat, and try to get my body parallel or as close to parallel to the floor as I can. Now from here, it's not a pendlay row, so the bar doesn't have to touch the ground every time. It's floating right off the ground. I'm rowing up to my solar plexus and then back down. I wanna try my best to go as long as I can without using my body to create momentum. So I'm not throwing my body back to get that bar up. I want you to try to keep that movement isolated to just pulling, mostly lats and all that sort of stuff. So when you get tired, if you get a little bit of momentum, that's okay, but fight to keep that from happening for absolutely as long as you can. And again, when things start to get tired, switching up your grip and stuff can help. It's only 5 reps at a time on this, so it should be over fast when you get there, which just means you get to the hardest part of Cindy faster, which is the push-ups. Why I say it's the hardest is not that a push-up is a hard movement necessarily, but this is where you get the most muscle fatigue. You usually see the most breakdown from athletes when we're talking about a workout like Cindy. When I'm doing my push-ups, hands are about shoulder width apart, arms are fully extended at the top, belly's nice and tight, and my body moves in one unit, chest down to the floor. Notice my elbows stay nice and close, so I'm not winging my arms out in my push-up. That's a compromised, internally rotated position for my shoulders. I want to keep my hands nice and close, keep my elbows close to my body, and then extend all the way until my elbows are locked out on every rep. So chest hits the floor, arms extended. That's a good push-up. And then for your air squats, hip crease is going to go down below the top of the knee and come all the way back up. I'm squeezing my butt at the top of every movement to ensure that my hips are open. And as a quick reminder, if you're trying to remember what that feels like, if you stand up normal and try to turn your glutes on, try to squeeze your butt as hard as you can, really easy to get the glutes to fire. If I hinge a little bit forward and have that closed angle in my hip, and then I try to turn my glutes on, it's a lot harder to get those to activate. So I know if I can squeeze my glutes, this is open. So I want you to think as you're squatting, you're squeezing your glutes at the top, you're not coming up with that closed hip position and thinking close enough, or yeah, I got it, but I'm just moving so fast that I don't actually stand all the way up and come all the way through. So hip crease, below the top of the knee, all the way back up to the top, squeeze your butt at the top every rep. 15 of those bad boys, and then right back onto your bent over row. 20 minutes is a long time. So, just like with anything, keep breathing, keep moving. If anything that you focus on in this workout, because a push-up is an easy thing to wrap your head around, an air squat's an easy thing to wrap your head around, bent over rows are a pretty simple movement for the most part. Your breath is where it's going to get challenging. So as you're moving, as it gets harder, when your brain starts to tell you not to go, that you can't keep going, that you have to slow down, that you have to rest, slow that breathing down. Try to take deeper breaths. Try to control that rhythm of your breathing. Don't get into that like panic breathing while you're moving, because you're not allowing your body to be able to take in that oxygen by breathing so fast. So trying to focus on slowing down that breathing rhythm, that's going to really help you get more oxygen into your body, into your muscles, help you work longer, more efficient, and you will feel better throughout that. So focus on your breathing when things get hard. And other than that, it's only 20 minutes of your life. Give it everything you got. It's going to be a good one today. It's always fun to look at a benchmark, or at least even a slight variation of a benchmark. Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's going to be a good week. I'm hoping for some sunshine. And I hope to see you guys in the gym. If not, enjoy this workout. Post your scores on the Box Talk, and let's get after it.